So this is session 1 of 4 for Legacy Life Among the Ruins, a game that I ran once before in its previous edition, where it had this book, had several supplements. James Illis, who I'm probably pronouncing his last name vastly incorrectly, did a Kickstarter earlier this year that was very successful. He has done a second edition. We are playing from the 1.5.1 version of the rules as they stand right now. He's made some serious changes between the versions and some significant shifts, which have been really interesting. And I'm sure it'll change from what we're playing tonight, but we're going to play from that. None of us have played it before, so we're going to be kind of learning. This is a game about post-apocalypse. Yes?
Actually, I played like one session before.
Oh, of this? All right. Well, then you are well ahead of the game because we have not. Anyway, this is a game about a post-apocalyptic setting. It is not like Apocalypse World. In Apocalypse World is really in the nitty-gritty of the Mad Max interactions. This is at kind of a different scale. We're going to be moving from characters to families and back. It's also generally sets itself up as not a sort of classic, post-nuclear, that there is a fall to civilization. Something has happened. It's more like Numenera or the weird, fantastic. It might be a whole different planet. We don't know. We're going to establish that. It's a lot more open in here. I mean, you can certainly do that with Apocalypse World, but this is kind of baked in to look at those things. And we're doing this game with just a slice of the playbooks. We're not using all of them. I've given them a set of 6, and these are essentially a little more of the grounded ones that we're playing with tonight. So we're going to be setting up and doing that character creation, building through. We're going to talk about tone. This is, of course, part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, which means that we do use the X card, which is kind of important if we're doing a post-apocalyptic game. When we talk about tone and things like that, if we hit subject matter or material or details or tone that you're uncomfortable with, that you're like, okay, no, I don't want to go there, can do this, or you can send a note in the group chat. I may stop to ask exactly what we're kind of editing past, but we can do that. That's a common thing. Everyone here knows this. Everyone here is a superstar RPG player for the Gauntlet, so I am lucky to have these people at the table with me tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started talking about the general sort of feeling and tone, and this can be about what we're imagining we would like this world to be like in general. The sort of one idea is that you are among the first generation after essentially the needs for survival have been met, that finally your community is able to kind of expand and do some more things and has some surpluses. There may have been multiple generations of living in scarcity, but that has changed now. The other conceit is that when you make up your player character is someone with influence in some way within that community. So you're going to want to keep that in mind. There are 4 roles to kind of define that, and we'll talk about that. That's actually kind of how advancement works within that, but we'll come back to that point. So let's start with tone. And does anybody have anything they definitely do want or definitely don't want for the game right now, sort of in general? And I'm doing that badly by opening up with broad strokes.
So I have a question. You mentioned that this game could be like Numenera in some way, something like that, something setting-wise. Is everyone familiar with Numenera? Awesome.
Yeah.
My preference would be either to do something that's very similar to Numenera, setting-wise, or do something very different. I'm afraid that if we kind of cross the line a little bit, my brain might get stuck and I might play only Numenera or only, So that's the only preference I really have.
All right.
To be fair,
what do you guys feel about that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To be fair, the playbooks we have are pretty normal. We don't have the stranded starfares, for example. We don't have the synthetic hive, and so if anything, it would be more far away from Numenera than closer to it, I think.
I've played Numenera. I could do it or not do it. So I have true faith. I could do anything.
Do we want something more? I mean, obviously, we're going to have wonders of the past age, but do we want something more high, fantastical tech lying in the background, or something a little more concrete?
I could go either way. Honestly, I have a picture for my character that's pretty much Warhammer 40k right now. So I'm fine with whatever.
Chris, what do you think?
Let's see. What are the broad strokes? I think took a quick glance at the book, and it had 3 sort of genres. It was mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? Mirrors.
As ruins, in which you're far removed from the technological wonders of before. Mm-hmm. Ending up at a state sort of closer to the modern world. Technology that exists is scavenged and temperamental. That's closer to the sort of the classic post-apocalyptic. There's echoes in which some strange, advanced, and bizarre technology is commonplace. Think Fallout, Horizon Zero Dawn, that kind of thing. And Mirrors is closer to the Numenera. All expectations of normality are thrown out. So it's really about what kind of level of wondrous tech we're talking about in the past in some ways.
Okay, well, I think if those are the 3 sort of broad categories, I would not choose runes.
Okay.
I wouldn't want it to go too close to Apocalypse World. I want this to be different.
Okay.
I agree with Crystal, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say let's think. You guys have seen the look of Horizon Zero Dawn. It's sort of essentially it's survivors. They're working with fairly primitive technology and things like that, but there are they're old text. It's not like the whole world of the past was wonderful and magical and completely different, but there were these amazing hard tech things, robots and tech devices and things like that were futuristic that can be recovered and used. Does that seem reasonable? What do you think about that? Does that work for you, Stephen?
Yeah.
Okay. Within that context, anything that you definitely want not on the table, like you're like, okay, let's skip this. I've heard sort of not Mad Maxy, not leaning into Apocalypse World. So that seems fair. Anything else, Sherry?
Yeah, I think that if we're going to go with that, I would like to say that there is no such thing as a sort of preserved firearms or old cars still around that are a thing. There's pieces of tech that's used, but it's all scavenged pieces. So someone may have just no one's got a semi-truck that they're still driving around.
Okay.
Okay. Even if it's a holy one, it's not.
Do we want it to go tech, or do we want to make it biotech?
Ooh.
So instead of having mechs, the technology we have is the ability to build animals that we use, or somebody knows how to do this.
I kind of like that. Are
Sort
you
of
guys?
If it's too strange, I was just thinking that could be something different we could do that might work in this setting that might not work in others. But I'm open to other things. That was just an idea that came to mind that could be. So it's sort of like if you saw, what was it, Battlestar Galactica, when Starbuck finally got into one of the Cylon ships, it ended up being it was all biological inside. That's what ran it. It was actually a living thing. So instead of having machines, you actually have living things that you're controlling and building. You could actually flip it around, I guess, and maybe we're all robots.
Interesting.
Maria, Stephen, what do you guys think?
I don't really want to be a robot.
Okay.
Not in this setting. That's fine.
Fair enough. Okay.
But I'm fine with biological, or something other than mechanical. Yeah.
Maria,
I'm
what
fine
do you
with weird
think?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So not sure if this is gonna go into like and when I say this, I mean like the whole. So Shadowrun is magic and cyber stuff. But what I was thinking is take the part where it's like somehow you have genetically modified elves or some shit. I'm not sure if that's what you mean or if like is biotech like I'm fine with biotech. It's just what like does biotech allow for more fantastical stuff or is it like?
Well, we can talk about it more concrete. That essentially biotech is used in the place of what we would consider conventional, tech. Is used for, you make animals to transport, or you have organic weapons, or that kind of thing. Or it can be, if you want to go more fantastical, it would include body modification and things like that. So, what level would you want that at?
I'm fine with going as crazy as possible or not. I'm flexible.
If we do that, I think one area we have to watch out for is one of the themes might end up being the concept of sentience and slavery.
Okay.
If we're using bio animals in different capacities and some of them have some semblance of intelligence, then you're going to start going into that area of, as long as we're consciously going into it, that's one thing. But
okay.
That's going to have to be something that we explore and play into, I guess, that how do we feel about slavery?
I remember that bio can be plants as well.
Oh.
Sure.
So,
but that doesn't mean they can't be intelligent.
Right.
right.
Well, let's say biotech. Let's go with that. Let's put that on the table. We've established not Mad Max. I think we have a sense of that tone there. We are kind of looking towards the wonder of things. So I would say not grimdark. If that's is that what I'm hearing kind of the leaning towards?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll put that on the table tone wise, and we'll get some more details in a minute. I just want to kind of establish a few things. Anything else, yay or nay, that anybody has on the top of their mind? All right, hearing none. What we're going to do is we're going to move on to the family creation, and each of you has chosen one of the families. We've had a set of 6, so we've chosen the Enclave of Bygone Lore, Servants of the One True Faith, Tyrant Kings, Eternal Masquerade. So those are the 4 that are on the table. So you guys can pull up those playbooks, and you can start going through the character creation process with that. You're going to set your stats, traditions, and then we're going to kind of, once you get some of those other details, those other questions that are there, we'll kind of start putting those on the map. I do want to talk real quickly. You'll notice that each family has 3 resource tracks. I want to talk about what those mean. You have a mood. Mood is essentially you take the number of surpluses that you have, and you subtract the number of needs that you have, and that reflects your mood. So if you had 3 needs and 2 surpluses, your mood would be -1. So that's a tracker of how well your family is doing, what their morale is like. Tech is essentially your family's hoard of advanced technology and scavenged lore. You can use that to boost a move. Essentially, you use can boost any of your moves with the power-up move, and then characters can actually take specific tech from the family reserves. And then data mechanically is knowledge about the world. Various moves generate data. You spend it to add something to the map or to give a character a boost. And there's a particular move for that. So those are what those resources represent. I will go ahead and pull up one of these playbooks.
So I've tried to pull up the map, and it's not working for me. I've tried a couple of different browsers.
Let me see. Let me see.
Is there some?
I'm going to put an edit link, see if this works for you, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm only seeing a checkerboard.
Okay.
It looks blank to me.
Yeah, it is. It is blank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going to draw on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was seeing the checkerboard. I thought there was something else there.
Oh no, no.
Okay.
Sorry.
I kept saying it's blank, and I can't figure it out. Okay.
But my mind's playing tricks on me. I look at it, I see this sort of sphere bulging out of it.
Yes. Let me see here. Let's do the background as here. I'm doing the background as white. There we go. Now we've got a white background that hides the checkerboard.
Lowell, what do reach, grasp, and sleight refer to?
So those sort of affect the family moves, and I think it's easiest for me to tell you what moves they go with. So your mood is for holding together. When you conduct diplomacy, you're rolling reach. When you're trying to grab something, claim it by force, you're rolling grasp. When you're infiltrating other factions, you're rolling sleight. Essentially, there's one move for each of those stats.
So I have a printout of the playbook, and it's kind of interesting. For my stats, I have 3 choices in order to set them. And the one that I chose says, if the fall unleashed previously unknown technology and knowledge which you now seek out, then choose this one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some flavor text in there about how you choose your stats.
Yeah, and we'll that'll be something that then when we come to maybe say some of these things, that's stuff that you can bring to the table.
Okay.
Feel free to mute, Sherry.
Sorry.
But so what was the world before the fall?
I don't know. We're going to decide that in a bit.
Because or is it, are choosing these things for the stats is going to define it for us?
It's going to define your family's relationship to it. Yeah. There's an interesting choice he makes in that he asks you to do that family creation, and that's step 2. And then after that, you do the broad strokes world creation, and that's a little bit different, if I recall correctly, than the previous version of the game. But so that's, we're going to see what those family playbook choices bring to it when we go to define those broad strokes.
So if we're going down the character sheet, we do stats, lifestyle, doctrine, and then history, correct?
Let me pull that up here. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
then we will.
when I get to history, that's where we're doing the questions around the group. So I have to stop.
Yeah, I would stop there. You can make the resources and traditions picks as well, but we'll get the history and the landmarks.
Okay. I wasn't thinking this through. I think I set myself up. Now I'm going to have to come with like an artistic design of something, aren't I?
Yes.
Oh, ouch.
Yes, you did.
I'm not really very artistic, but Christo, there's this thing called the internet that has great things on it.
I know. And I'll have to see if I have the link for the logo designer, because there was the site that generates logos for you. And I was thinking, that could be
Ooh.
really good.
I actually went down the time suck earlier. I think it was yesterday. I think that Lowell had sent out this Pinterest picture of all these different things. I'm like, ooh, and suddenly I was lost.
Yeah. If you were lost then, imagine when I actually put that together. How much time I lost to that.
Under resources, the items that are shown there, are those surpluses?
Let me take a look at that here.
It says choose 2 and increase assets accordingly, and that's why I'm confused what I'm supposed to do with that.
So what it does is they have example resources, and in the book they've got more of these. So you could say, oh, we have artisans as a surplus.
Mm-hmm.
And then what that then allows you to do is you mark that as a surplus, and then we know that also will boost. You can use that to boost either intel or outfit. Like, okay, well, this is something that can be used for that. There's some stuff for essentially spending those surpluses in play to help things out.
Okay, that helps. So so what they show under resources are the surpluses.
Yeah, those are the choices of the surpluses. You'll add a point in the relevant gear category for each of the surpluses. So if you chose artisans as a surplus,
mm-hmm.
Then you would put a box in either intel or outfit on your sheet. And I'm looking at a different sheet, so it might be different things that you have on yours.
Got it. I found them. Okay.
Okay.
So Sherry, I have a question for you. One of the choices under resources for my family is vehicles. So I'd like to ask you a question about your comment about nobody has like a semi or a Jeep or anything like that. Are you objecting to the vehicle itself, or are you objecting to the mundane appearance of tech?
I'm objecting to the fact that something has of that sort is still working from before the fall.
Oh,
Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah.
That is all.
Okay, got it.
But so you could have like a centipede truck, right? It's made out of it's actually centipede with lots of legs, and that's your truck. And it's got a flat back on it, and that's what you use as your truck.
I have no problem. I would have no problem with a big bamboo semi truck. I just don't want, I just don't want an old. I don't want a Pinto. That's what
a Jeep Wrangler.
A 1980 Toyota Corolla Tercel that just tick, 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 tick. Yeah.
Bouncing through the wilderness.
I'm ready for landmarks and history, by the way.
Okay. Once we get everybody's stuff in here, I'll probably we'll and introduce them. We'll do that.
Yeah, I'm ready for history and landmarks also.
Okay.
I'm just going ahead with resources and traditions.
Okay. What did you choose for your surpluses?
I chose luxuries and prestige.
Okay.
And I chose the intel aspect of prestige.
Also, by the way, notice how when I have surplus, weaponry, and leadership, I gain +1 reach. Look at my surpluses right now.
Yep, makes sense.
I mean, it seems weird because it's like it's the only one that starts out where you can start out with that +1. So it seems a bit unbalanced there.
Well, yeah, I wonder how that is. Of course, it means that you really don't want to lose either of those surpluses.
That is true. I mean, yeah, it's just how
gives you a place I can hit hard.
Yes.
That's the way I always look at it.
All right, that makes sense.
Sherry, how are you doing?
I kind of think what I'm going to do here, I just have to figure out how to fit it into this system. I'm a horrible person and hadn't looked at the sheets before, like right now. I'm that person. Yes, thank you.
I'm just pretending I did.
You're doing a good job.
Okay. Well, we'll give you a couple minutes here to get your stuff in. Ooh, that midnight carnival is kind of wicked.
I don't think I chose that. Where was that? Which one?
Oh, that's the moves.
Yeah, I don't think I chose. Oh, I did choose it. You're right.
Yeah. Not necessarily yet. Still.
No, that aligned with what I was going for. I have a certain idea of what their art is and does.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they fall into excesses, they come to me. Oh wow, I've just become a drug dealer, not an artist.
Fair enough. That's what happened to them in Blades in the Dark. They started out as circus folk. Now they deal demonic absinthe.
Oh, there are more rows to this than I thought. Okay. So I got...
I can't see the entirety of my move dominion, unfortunately.
Of your...
Right now. Of my dominion move. It cuts off.
Oh, and Lowell, I have a question.
Okay.
The checkboxes at the bottom, were they pre-populated already based on your family?
Yes.
Oh, and then you adjust them based on your resources?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. This is an artisanal handcrafted character sheet. So
I like the checkboxes.
Once I figured out how to do those, they're in every sheet I've done since. Oh,
I'm going to steal those. My move disappeared. Or did it? No, it didn't. Okay. We get 2 moves, right?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a question I was trying to look up. So
Sure.
one of my investments, I have armory, outfit, vehicles, and intel. Those all kind of make sense. One of them is companions, and it says each point creates a group with a specialty or increases a group's quality by one.
Mhm.
So, what exactly is a companion? Is this going to be an NPC family, or is this more along the lines of a herd of critters that are biotech that we've created?
I think it could be either. I could imagine you going, well, I have a group of people who are trained to do this, or I have a group of animals, or I have an expert that knows how to do this thing. Essentially, it's really an NPC set that you can use in the fiction to do things.
Got it.
So I have a question on a move that I was thinking of taking.
Sure.
My mask is my face. Whenever another family or faction fails a roll against your family, gain advantage in any slight rolls against them until you spring your vengeance or until the age turns, whichever comes first.
Okay.
My question is, fails a roll. Is that a 6 or less?
Yes.
Because that's not the usual terminology.
Yeah, I'm assuming that he means that, because I always assume a 7 to 9 is considered a hit, and so a 6 or less I would consider a fail.
I think what Krista means is that the terminology is missed, so
Right.
or the usual terminology.
No, I know. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
It is odd, one of the things is I have seen more of these my assumptions about PbtA, not to get into this particular thorn patch that has been the reason that I've quit some Slack channels this week. But there's certain things about expectations that certainly throw me off on that. And you're really right. Fail there is it's not the most confusing term, but it's a confusing term.
Yeah, I think I got some barbs on that one also.
Yeah. Welcome to Lowell's Throwing Shade episode of the Gauntlet. Do you have that picture that you chose, Maria?
It has a gun, so I have to find another one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could be a biogun.
No, the picture is not a biogun.
At the Photoshop.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that, so.
Just paint it green.
Painting green. It's a plant gun.
Plant gun, yes. It shoots seeds.
That could be horrible, though.
That could really
be horrible.
Have you read any of like the weird trees that grow in the Amazon, like drop grenades?
Oh my god.
Or maybe it's not the Amazon, but they drop literally. It's a thing that will explode like a grenade. But it's basically like a pine cone, but when it hits, it will like shoot the little seeds out like a grenade.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we can do some mean stuff with the biotech.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, I don't think that can be made into a biogun.
It's a little too metally, a little too
Yeah.
sharp edged.
I did have a alternate picture, which is just a Tyrannid. But I can find something else. Hopefully.
Okay.
Oop. Come on. There we go.
Oh, I had a great idea.
Okay.
Actually.
Hmm.
Deciding your traditions, Sherry?
Was I deciding on my traditions? Let's see here. No, that wasn't it. I was trying to choose my move, and
Oh, okay.
my drop down isn't working quite right, so it's making me super sad. Like,
The
really sad.
the Family PB Moves tab, it has all the data if you want to look at all your stuff in one column.
It's not, yeah, okay. I'll just cut and paste it over there then.
Well, just if you want it for reference, sorry.
No, no, I know that. It was just I used the drop down and it didn't bring my move text up.
Hmm.
All right.
So
Pick one.
if we work with biotech,
Mm-hmm.
do we recycle corpses?
Maybe.
Okay, then I'm going to say that we do.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the style of death masks carved from corpses. Oh
That
no,
makes-
sorry. I wanted extreme body modification. Sorry, I had an entirely different idea. But that
Oh.
doesn't mean I still can't. That doesn't mean I still can't use the body parts from other things.
Nothing says you can't.
And I have 2 possible images. Pick one.
Okay.
Since yeah.
Which is the other move you wanted to take, Sherry?
It was called the Inquisition.
Oh, you're right. It is not grabbing that up, is it?
Mm-mm. Sorry about this cat.
So
I
how
love it.
are people getting calculating their mood?
Should
Surplus
be
minus need.
Oh, it was just from your stat. Your stats were giving you that.
Yeah.
Okay. And are they assets or stats? They're stats.
Well, assets. It's basically so everyone's move starts at a -1 because you usually have 2 surpluses and 3 needs. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I see I think I recognize that picture from the Numenera. I'm not sure though, or the strange.
I have the wrong data validation text in there, Sherry. I will fix that. Oh. R1, J5, I34. Paper moves. Oh, well, that's why. There you go. I love Excel. All right. What I think I'd like to do now is for us to kind of walk through and have people describe the gist of their family, what they're about, how they're picturing them, name, those kinds of things, and sharing with us your traditions and some of the other details there. And then I want to walk through the landmark things, those points that are in each playbook, and get those put on the map. And before I do that, I'm actually going to look at these pictures that we posted. Okay, Soul Caliber. Or better drawn Soul Caliber. I like them both. And then, oh, that's very cool, Stephen. Yeah.
Where are you putting these pictures?
He has posted links in the chat bar.
See it.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to have you introduce. We'll go through that. We'll get that set, figured out, do the landmark. So, Stephen, if it's okay, I would like to start with you. Is that cool?
That sounds good.
Okay. Let's have you introduce your family to us.
This enclave of the bygone lore are the Burn. They are a close-knit family that pass along secrets to the rest of their enclave through familial type passings. I think they actually set up like small schools for the children to teach them this is what we do. They tend to have pretty utilitarian clothes that have maybe critters or things attached inside the clothing. You know, oh, this is the critter that works as a spade, and we can squeeze it, and it will help us shovel and things like that.
Okay.
And they're kind of it's kind of a meritocracy. There's sort of a loose form of government where the elders or the most wise people or the most brave people kind of choose what the family's going to do. Some of my other choices are, I think the Fall unleashed previously unknown technology and knowledge, which we now seek out. Let's see.
Interesting. So something about the tech that you're seeing now was tech that maybe went wild that helped bring about the Fall. Okay.
I think maybe it mutated some.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I see whenever I see pre-fall culture, I know something about its cultural significance. And let's see. I'm not sure what else.
Okay. Well, that's good. That gives us some. What did you take for your two moves?
Oh yeah, that's good. I took sufficiently advanced. That means I have access to some kind of wonder from before. I took medical treatments that are able to cure any ailment.
Okay.
So I'm actually envisioning these are kind of like leeches. Something that you put on the body and it helps repair.
Okay.
However, the power, I think it starts with 3 power. It's regained with renewable energy. So every few months, climate permitting, it comes back.
Okay.
And the other move I took was deep knowledge. We know about, let's see, an extensive store of records on certain fields, and the one that I chose is Magic and Artifice of the Glorious Past.
Nice.
The other thing is Inheritance. I took Radio Rig, can sense tech whenever it's within a mile and track it down within 100 meters.
Ooh.
I envision this sort of as sort of like a some kind of sensory enhancement thing. I smell something weird. It's a few miles away, but I think we're getting close. That kind of thing.
Oh, I like that. Is that biotech then?
Yeah.
Okay. Neat. I like that. All right, Maria, tell us about the Hell Swords. I'm going to say it that way every time, by the way.
Oh my god, that is amazing. But yeah, the Hell Swords are a family of they're the Tyrant Kings, so they conquer shit and don't give a shit about it. Sorry, I'm putting the image somewhere. All right. So they are known for having big bioweapons. And they are settled, so they do have borders. They are, and let me see what else. And the 2 moves I picked are always outnumbered, never outgunned. And the other move is Dominion.
And for never outnumbered, what is it that gives you your family that edge?
I was thinking between well, it makes sense for the huge bristling cornucopia of weaponry because I did pick the Engines of War thing where I have weaponry and leadership. I gain +1 reach.
Okay.
So yeah, that's that.
Okay.
I was tempted to take the third one, but the first one makes more sense. Anything else? The populace is populace is vassal villages giving tribute and warriors. Style is masked and helmets decorated according to rank, and governance is a stellar conqueror and her advisors. So yeah, that's basically it. Any questions?
So these vassal villages, are they under the heavy hand of your rule, or okay?
Pretty much.
I assume you ruthlessly deal with any potential rebellion.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are your needs?
My surpluses are leadership and weaponry, as I've said before, and my needs are land, transport, and recruits.
So still a small area.
Yeah.
Not mobile and very few in number.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Next, can I hear about the Eternal Masquerade? Which every time I say that is going to sound like a vampire to me, by the way.
Okay, so the family is called Fool's Mirror, and they are dancers. I guess if we go by their objective, their primary form of art seems to be dancing. And
Okay.
the option is Vogue dancers, which is not really what I was looking for, but it does tie in some way. So if you dance ecstatically or in a heavily styled manner, all those around you must give you their full attention and take heed of what you say next. And my idea with the Fool's Mirror is that they use their art to show the ruling classes, if you will, or the people in power, or the plebs, what's really going on, or what's going to happen if they continue. So it's sort of a mirror of their society, or whatever society they're in. And they use extravagant costumes to show this. And so that's what ties in. Their surpluses are luxuries and prestige. It's prestigious to have them come and do a performance for you. And they dress opulently using various forms of biotech. And I was even thinking of them. So their populace is degenerates hidden behind gorgeous finery. So they use the biotech to cover up, everything that's wrong with them, because they're like clipping all this stuff on or interfacing it onto them. And when they do their dances, they may actually be inside a large biotech mech, if you will, that then falls off. They can do all sorts of extreme stuff because they have extreme body modifications. So for all we know, they may take their arms off and put them back on, the real arms. Their governance is seers that interpret portents hidden in vids and lyrics from before. So since we're saying we're biotech, I'm assuming this means that we have some means of doing video that is bio-related. So maybe it's showing it on a membrane of some sort or something like that.
Okay, I like that. What you have there, barter goods, culture, and artisans as your needs. What do you think that reflects?
I think our degenerate lifestyle really takes a toll on our artisans. Culture, I think we're starving for it all the time. We always want more. It's probably an addiction.
Okay.
More than anything else. And barter goods. Well, we live a decadent life, so we always need the simple things too.
Okay. And you're nomadic. You're traveling from place to place generally. Okay. What about the moves that you picked?
I chose... I didn't do treaty. Midnight Carnival. When someone falls to excesses, they come to you for their needs. If another family becomes flush with resources or falls into crisis, you gain a surplus and 1 tech. Describe what performance you put on for this boon. And I chose another move that links up with that. The second move is One of Us. The majesty of the way of life draws people like moths to the flame. When your family gain treaty on another faction or family, you gain fleeting advantage on a family move, roll targeting them. And so from Midnight Carnival, if I pull that off, oh, that's not true. It doesn't play into it. Never mind. I thought it'd give me treaty.
Yeah.
Never mind.
You were looking at a combo there.
Yeah, that's like min-maxing, isn't it?
No, that's okay.
I was gonna see how that would play out. I've never had anything like that.
Well, and if you want to change that, we can certainly do that. Take a look at your stuff there.
Yeah, I like the idea of the majesty drawing people.
Let me finish off with the Servants of the One True Faith, and then we're going to talk about landmarks, and then eventually treaties. So, Sherry, can you tell me about your servants?
Muted.
You are muted.
It's my special talent. Okay, so they're not the servants of the one true faith. They're the servant of the one true faith. They all look like either Jane Doe or John Doe, as below. They maintain a careful history and averaging of the genetics of humans. And essentially, if you're corrupt, it's because you've pushed too far beyond. And if you are righteous, you still fit within the continuum that they consider exemplary. The higher up you are among the servant, the more you look like the oldest such servant that they have in their gene bank. So you're actually recreated. They're tolerated by the population because when you are sick or dying, they can, say, baptize you and you become Jane Doe. You live, you have all of your memories. You understand your family still, but you look like Jane Doe. Everyone will treat you like that. And though you can stay with your family, typically people come back to the faith after a time. And so in that way they get more expertise.
Interesting. And so that's what plays into that. You're welcome in different communities.
Mm-hmm.
Doubt that makes it dispersed. Okay.
Right. So essentially, everyone always welcomes a miracle should they think that they may possibly need it. But there's not like a huge number of us in any one place. That would be scary for people.
But okay. But you do have quite a few, but very dispersed.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like with the recruits and the artisans. The artisans being like doctors. Yes.
They
Okay.
maintain the bank of the things and the methods that we use to save someone. And when we save them, we save them. We really save them.
And needs, what is that playing into there?
Leadership currently, simply because we are so dispersed, it's hard for us to maintain leadership like other groups would understand it. But we struggle with it and we attempt to find ways. During different eras, we've been able to have better leadership because of tech that we have, but we lose it over and over again and then have to regain it. Land, we could say that that's not a priority, and yet there's definitely benefits to having a place of your own, and safety is hard too.
Okay. What did you choose for your moves?
My moves are let's see, oops, sorry. Of course, the Faith of the Fallen. And I highlighted the wrong one. Not only did I highlight it, I also colored the text and yet didn't notice that I had done the wrong one. Man. Okay. It's restoration and healing of humanity, sort of very literally. Because I think any true faith should have some sort of horribly literal part of it.
Yep. And what does that do, that particular tenet?
It says that essentially at the start of each age, I count among the other families who are in line with my tenets as righteous and everyone else is corrupt. When my family gains something that furthers their tenet, that they hold one, and when an emissary of our family, including my character, draws on this vision of future perfection, I spend a hold to gain an insight towards the current goal, ignore all needs for one move, or plant the seeds of my faith in the mind of another.
Okay. And so that's sort of a start of age, start of session kind of move. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. And the Inquisition, you chose the
It sounds
Inquisition.
horrible, doesn't it? When my family makes an example out of a member of a corrupt family or faction, we hold one. Hold one for one to force someone, righteous or corrupt, to choose one of the following: perform a task for you no matter the risk, say a secret they don't want you to hear, or give up all their possessions. So essentially this is probably a thing that is done where they say, essentially it's the pronouncement that your genes are corrupt, and so it's that sort of thing. And in order to do that, they have to give one of themselves up or do these other things.
Okay. Interesting material there. All right. I would like to walk through. You have on each of your playbooks those discussions of landmarks. And so I'd like to walk through that. And for each family, we're going to, I'm going to come to you. You're going to do choose one of the categories and do that mark on the map that we have there. So Stephen, let's come to you. Which of the landmarks do you want to put here first and tell us about it?
So let's go with my first one, which is Before, a secret research center full of unnamed wonders.
Okay.
Untamed wonders, excuse me.
Untamed wonders.
And just draw a spot somewhere?
Yeah, draw a spot. We'll build around from there.
Let's say it is there.
Okay. Let's yeah, get that little. I'm going to shrink that down a little bit more if that's okay.
Yep, that sounds great.
Okay. That. And what do you want to call that place?
The Wilds.
Okay. This is going to be a really ugly, rough map that we're going to do here, so I'm going to apologize right now.
My eyes are already bleeding.
I know. Okay. That was your computer objecting. All right. And when we're done with this, then I'll have everybody put where essentially they see their community as being, that kind of thing. What about you, Maria? What one do you want to do?
Okay, I wanna from the before, right?
Mhm.
A Fort High Command hope to fall back to warehouses full of weaponry too dangerous and too expensive to use. That's also going to be my base.
Okay.
Because we're using weaponry that is powerful weaponry, so I'm guessing, yeah.
Okay. So where do you want to put that?
Somewhere on, let's see here.
Okay.
And it's let me put a name here. The Hell Swords base.
Christo.
I'll start with the before. A wilderness of mirrors and song filled with interactive ghosts.
Ooh.
And I'm picturing these mirrors to actually be honeycombs, very large honeycombs.
Ooh.
And that the projections are probably, since it's from the before, I'm assuming this is sort of like a video archive of some sort.
Okay.
So those are the ghosts that we're seeing, although we could say it's something different. But interactive ghosts sort of keys into that, I would say. Okay. So I'm picturing these as being sort of honeycombs that have micro fireflies of different colors behind them, like really, really, really small fireflies that are coordinated to create the images.
Is it a big area? Is it like one small location? What are you picturing for that? It says a wilderness. I mean, so is it spread out?
I'm thinking it's like a forest of these mirrors. So if you picture, if we're thinking, continuing sort of the honeycomb theme, so maybe there's sort of trees or just elaborate honeycombs that go up high and branch a little bit, and so they have all these displays. So maybe there was one of these, and then they just continue to grow. I don't know, and replicate, or however they develop. So we have this sort of forest of these honeycomb.
All right. And
ghosts.
You can freehand draw little woods if you want. Or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, you want me to do that? Okay.
I can draw it if you want.
Freehand woods. I'll do it. What the heck?
Okay.
I'll share in the angst. see, wait, so I have to find it. You can go into somebody else while I'm doing that.
Okay. I think there's line scribble.
Line scribble.
If you go to line there, you can pull down to scribble, and I think that's your freehand draw tool.
Oh, okay.
So Sherry, what have you got that you want to put on the map? Muted.
Okay. So I'm thinking I would like to do a holy site that drew countless pilgrims to their death.
Oop. Okay. So what is that? What is that? What would draw pilgrims to their death?
It was a sort of a legendary vault of knowledge, and essentially those that went in and came out with death on their hands.
Ooh.
And so, yeah, and it was called the Seed Sea. CDC, I don't know.
Okay. So why don't you put the seed C on the map there?
The thing about it is it's in the middle of a lot of black ribbons that have fallen, and then it's sort of a crater inside of there.
Okay. And what are these black ribbons?
They're made of sort of soft black stone that gets sticky in the sun. And even though there's stuff like that elsewhere, these ones have never gone away.
I like that. I'll go ahead and put the name on there for you.
Thank you. Oh, I didn't mean to do that.
All right, Stephen, let's have you add another thing.
Okay, I'm going to add something from the fall. This is a redoubt where the miraculous signs from the before almost averted the fall itself. And I think what this is this is a sort of a research facility. For us, it would look a lot like a zoo. But basically, this is where there are a lot of different animals in their natural habitat, sort of like we would take chemicals or specimens and we would freeze them in a refrigerator. I think before they took animals and creatures and samples and put them into like a self-sustaining habitat to keep them so that they would reproduce, so then they could use them in their tech as they combine them in different ways.
Okay. A menagerie. And
menagerie is such a good word. I think that's the name of it.
Okay. And where do you want to put that?
Let's do there. Actually, let's put it up in the corner. Give us some space.
I think
my box disappeared.
Box vanished. I think you were drawing it in white.
Oh.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome. Maria, what's your next one?
The before? Sorry, no, the fall.
The fall.
I want a massive boneyard still growing. And I'm going to put it near the menagerie.
Okay.
So is it like bones that are actually growing?
Yeah.
And what is it called?
Let me give it the name.
It's huge.
Yeah. Let me think. The Marrowlands.
Nice.
Alright. And let me shrink this.
So is that the fruit we harvest from them? Is marrow?
Oh yeah, that'd make sense. That's wow. This got all Cronenbergian. Anyway, all right.
But we're not grimdark.
We're not grimdark.
No.
Okay, that is cool. I like that. When you is it like a ground cover or is it bigger? How are you imagining that?
I'm imagining like it's basically a forest of bones. Like the trees instead of
Okay.
having like bark and stuff, it's basically bone. Instead
Okay.
of bark and like sap, it's bone and marrow, basically.
Are the tree things shaped like trees still, or are they shaped like bones?
They're shaped like trees.
Okay. Let me just write that down. Nightmare fuel, right there.
Do they have skull apples?
Oh God.
Oh my.
Awesome. Christo.
Okay, I'm going to do a threat. I'm going to do
Oh.
a lingering malaise only abated by distraction or spectacle.
And you could just draw that like as a sign, like as a symbol of it that means that area of the map is being affected by it.
Okay.
There's some nice things under the shape tools, like little pluses and crosses and things like that.
A lingering malaise. I'm trying to think of. I was picturing it sort of cloudy, but maybe it doesn't have to be cloudy.
There's some explosion boxes under callouts.
Explosion boxes.
And a thought bubble, a cloud.
Oh, I like that. So it can be thoughts. It can be just deep thoughts, because ignorance is bliss, and this is not bliss. So we'll call this the blissless.
So, is it? You're saying it's a mental malaise that affects people in that area?
Mm-hmm.
And what are the sort of the signs? How do people know?
How do they know they've entered the area, or how do they know
Yeah,
that?
how do people recognize? Okay, oh gosh, they're suffering from the blissless.
That's a really good question. Well, A, they stop bathing. If any of us bathe. I guess that's a question. Let's assume that we have basic hygiene.
Right.
And so,
by establishing that they don't bathe as an unusual thing, therefore ipso facto, people bathe.
mm-hmm. So they don't. So they stop looking after themselves, which is just anathema to my group.
Okay.
We're decadent, but we look good. And let's see. How else anybody else got any ideas? What would be something that would be an indication of this? They probably waste away. They're probably thin because they don't eat.
Okay. So it is something that consumes them. Is it right away, or does it? It's a malaise, so it happens slowly over time, I assume. Okay.
They just don't care.
Okay. Well, we'll put the sort of epicenter of that on the map with your little cloud, and we'll come to Sherry. Sherry, what's your next one?
I think my next one is demons embodying all the horrors of the fall. They're the threat. And this goes on the map, or is that conceptual?
It can be conceptual, but you essentially put a sign for it somewhere on the map.
Okay.
It's maybe not necessarily that particular space, but maybe where it's supposed to be most recently seen, or where they discuss it, that kind of thing.
All right. And I think that what this would be is, I was thinking that they're probably exiles, among other things. They are people, or once people, that have been pushed past the borders. But there are little places where they kind of tend to pop up over and over again because we can't keep them away as easily there. So I'm thinking that there is a river that would usually be a border. Should I draw that? How's that?
Go ahead and draw a river.
And then an island in that where you're most likely to see them.
Okay.
So, I don't know what I'm doing here. I've picked the wrong tool, I think.
If you're going to freehand, the line scribble is the best.
Okay. Let's see. Let me choose a color.
And what do you want to call that place? That thing?
Let's see. How about the horrors? Just
Okay.
simple.
All right. And we'll come back to revisit exactly what those mean in the future there. Stephen, let's get your third landmark. You are muted.
Sorry, I was double muted. I clicked one but didn't get the other.
Okay.
Okay. The threat is a crude tribe of raiders using advanced tech.
Ooh.
And I think what these are a tribe of nomads who travel sort of on the back of rhinoceros type creatures.
Okay.
And they are known as the Thunder. So they travel around. So I'm probably just going to draw a few arrows.
Sure.
Put down the Thunder.
That sounds good. So they raid from outside sort of the lands that your enclaves occupy.
Yeah, and they're kind of random. They don't always raid other families or other groups. Sometimes they just come in and take a chunk of animals from someplace and run off.
Okay.
So you don't really know what they're doing yet.
Excellent. Maria?
All right. My threat will be a foreign army stranded in the homeland,
Ooh.
which will be rather large. Like really big threat.
Okay. So some big massive force that has bordered into the area.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to call them?
Let me think.
Sure.
So we're going with We're going with biotech,
Okay.
right? So let me think. Sorry, can you go ahead and go to the next one? I'll give you
Sure,
a name.
absolutely. I can do that. Christo. You're still playing around with the color and font of your Blissless Mountains.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get it to show up without just totally taking away the mountains. And the idea with the mountains was that so then it could be sort of a blissless fog that flows down the mountains into different areas at different times.
Okay.
So it could be pretty nasty. Okay, so then my last one has to be the fall. And I want to do the remains of those who chose to revel while the world ended.
Ooh.
Who chose to revel while the world ended. So it's like the last party.
What are the signs of the last party?
And what would remain from them after all this? How long ago do we know this happened? Is it 100 years?
Well, it's been at least a couple of generations we've established.
That they were partying till the end. So where would be a good place to party? So we have
Were they
we don't-
partying to the end like the Mask of Red Death kind of thing?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or the Decameron?
The Marrowlands. Maybe they fed the Marrowlands.
Well, that's interesting.
I have a name now.
The Deathless Legion.
Yes.
First, I'm going to let you think about that because I want to know why they are called the Deathless Legion.
Yeah, they use corpses as their warriors, so that corpse recycling thing is so basically necromancers, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
So
I have a question.
in a zombie army.
Who was it at the beginning who said no grimdark? Was that you, Lowell?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I just want to check in.
But they all have smiley faces. They're all very happy.
Is this getting?
Well, here's the thing: is I will take those in the context of that. That this is not such a zombie army. It's that they are practical people who are using biotech to reanimate corpses to support their army.
Okay.
So I will definitely make that not grimdark if off of that.
And I would like to apologize, but also explain. I think
Sure.
the Tyrant Kings aren't a happy family, unfortunately. So it's kind of hard to make them not grimdark. So I apologize beforehand.
Okay.
If it does get, or not beforehand, but it kind of gets a bit dark, I guess.
No, we'll stop off for tone if that becomes a problem.
You don't want to make them happy? So they come back and they're happy. And so the undead army is coming to save everybody because you die and you join us and you will be happy.
Oh, God.
I think that would make it even more dark.
No, I
I
think we're all kind of headed that way. I just wanted to check in and make sure that we weren't offending anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So where is this party?
Yeah, no, I also just realized where I want to be. So the thought that came into my party at the end of the world, and I started thinking there's got to be a cliff, and maybe it was just like the party at the edge of a cliff. So do we have a mesa anywhere or anything like that? We don't, do we?
Oh, put a mesa on the board.
Mesa party. So I'll put a mesa. Where do we want it? I'm trying to figure out. So we've got a river with the horrors, the thunder, and we want to have the party at the end of the world. And the remains are there, but so this is going to be a ruin place we go to?
Can be.
I think I want to put it on the river next to the thunder.
Okay.
So it won't ping, will it? I'll put it down there. Whoops,
Yeah.
does that show for everybody?
Mhm.
That was accidentally selecting it, but that's just like the
Yeah.
general area where I'll put it.
Okay. Sure. So you put that down there. And what are the signs of that party that are left behind?
Oh, so let's say there's a beach on the river, and it's a beach made of washed broken glass. So you've got, instead of having pebbles, it has glass stones.
Okay.
That it's just covered with them. I actually can probably find a picture of this because I know a beach like this.
Mm-hmm.
And at the top of the cliff, and the reason they're all down there is because they're throwing the bottles off the cliff and they were crashing. At the top of the cliff is where the party actually was. And so that would be like these really decadent, it would either be a cliff house. Yeah, let's make it like a cliff hotel. So the cliff hotel with balconies, but what would be left? Maybe it's just the scaffolding is sort of, not the scaffolding, but the bones of the structure are what's left.
And like the rooms and things that are maybe carved into the cliffside, that kind of thing?
Oh, they could be. That would be neat. I like that.
Okay. All right. Well, you put the party mesa, party down mesa,
Yeah.
on the board, and Sherry, what is your last one?
Mine is, it's essentially a fortress for those who banded together to stave off Armageddon. And it is essentially a cluster of buildings that have been carefully rebuilt, at least to maintain their shape, over and over again. The thing that actually continues to exist are the basements underneath where all the labs were. So it was essentially a set of labs.
Is that what you've drawn up there? Are those
Yes.
the little buildings?
Yes.
Awesome. And what is it called?
It is called, let's see, the Salvation.
The Salvation.
But there are lots of other things written on it. Like university and stuff like that. But
Okay. Go ahead and put that name on there. Stephen, where is essentially the homeland for your people? Where do you imagine that being?
Yeah, so I think that basically there's like it's sort of a cave. I think it's near the wildlands. Somewhere like
Okay.
about in here. Shrink that down.
Okay.
And they found a cave, and it has a good water source, and it's near the wilds where there's a lot of creatures that they can go find more kind of tech from. So I think that's where they settled.
Okay. Go ahead and put that and label that. We've established the Hell Swords base on there.
Yeah, I had a question. I thought the homelands referred to the entire area, because otherwise, it says that a foreign army is stranded in the homeland. The Deathless, like if we consider the small land, my need of land, I don't think the Legion would like fit in that small space.
Right.
So, do you get my point?
So no, I guess I'm not following. So you've established that the Deathless Legion is in the sort of the area that you have here. Are you saying that the threat, as it's stated, is something in your homeland?
Well, that's what I don't understand. Like, does homeland refer to everyone's homeland, or does it refer to specific people's homeland?
That's a good question. Let me take a look at how that's written there real quick.
It says the homeland. When it says a foreign army stranded in the homeland.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's everywhere. That the area that all of you are in.
Oh, okay.
So we've got a river, we've got some mountains here. Let me ask you this, Maria. Is this area more tundra, or is it more woods, or is it more desert, or is it something else? What is the general terrain around in this whole homeland area, the big section of the map?
I'm thinking that since the thunder operates during like in plains, like
Okay.
like the steppes. I'm thinking like Mongolian steppes type of deal with the
Sure.
thunder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's just me.
No, I like that. Let me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to...
And I'm going to say that the villages that are under the Hellsword's control are also affected by the thunder.
Okay.
Since it's in that general area as well.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. Let me quickly grab, let me see if I can find a good thing for this. Let's see what that... I'm going to put some, based on you're saying sort of the Mongolian areas, I'm going to kind of put some hills.
I'm already putting the villages in, just saying.
Oh, are you? Okay, I'm going to throw some hills in here. Okay, so just throw some hilllands. Put Christo, what is there any place that your people consider home, or are you completely nomadic?
I would say the Forest of Talking Mirrors is where we return to.
Okay. That makes sense to me. There are 2 NPC families. One of them being merchants, the other one being sort of envoys. Those are the ones who weren't chosen.
You mean lawgivers?
Sorry.
Because envoy is a
sorry,
character.
yeah. Lawgivers and the merchants. So, where do you think the envoys? Sorry, I'm going to keep saying that wrong. Once I get it wrong, it will be wrong forever. Where do you think the merchant family's enclave is? Place is
The Morrowlands.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you draw me in a spot for them?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want to call the merchants?
But I want a symbol for a lemonade stand.
Okay.
Is it Steven, since you're the one who created the thunder, is it okay if the lawgivers are actually the thunder?
I'd like to keep that separate.
Oh, okay, then
if you don't mind. Yeah, to give another NPC interaction faction.
Okay, that makes sense.
Anyone have an idea for what we should call these merchants?
Yeah. Let's see here. I mean, it just makes sense, right? That it has to be something like the exchange.
Okay. Perfect.
And it's a set of families, and they're all kind of always haggling among each other for who has the rights to this and that.
Absolutely. And go ahead and mark them on the map.
I will.
Stephen, the other family is the lawgivers. Where should they be at?
So I think the lawgivers are on Soiree Mesa.
Okay.
I think that what they've done is they've kind of moved in there, and since it was seen as a source of chaos, they're trying to bring order to it.
Okay. What, Maria? Can you give me a name for these lawgivers?
You had to ask the person who's terrible at names.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I can do it. The I think it's like I think there's 7 of them
Okay.
right now. So it's the Ruthless 7.
Okay. So like 7 leaders, and then they have their small community with them.
Yeah. Or not the Ruthless 7, because we don't want to go to Grimdark.
Okay.
How about the 7 mercies?
The 7 what?
Mercies. So they
Oh,
don't-
yes. Yes. That makes sense.
At the Sven mercies.
Sure, why not? The Sven mercies.
Sven Mercies.
Okay.
They're all called Sven.
And they all play Mercy on Overwatch.
Yes. They've all got paper mache wings and stuff. It's all good. All right. So I think we need to take a break, and then we're going to do our characters, because we're only done with the family. We're going to come back and do the characters. So we'll take 5 for that. Okay.
Wait, we aren't even done with the families. We need history.
Oh, Jesus wept. Okay. When we come back, we're going to do the history and all of that stuff. So, all right. I am going to take a 5-minute though. So I got that copy of Phoenix Dawn Command, Christo.
Oh, awesome.
It is cray-cray. that thing. Have
I
you looked
heard,
at it?
No, I hadn't, but the only reason I had listened to the one-shot podcast of it, and I was listening to the game and the way they're playing, I thought, well, of course, they're fantastic players, so you always have to take that with a grain of salt, but it sounded really interesting.
Yeah, there are a lot of pieces to it. The rule book is huge.
Oh.
And they managed to make it look like an army reference manual. It's very weird. It has that sort of brown paper thing on it. And it's got Phoenix Dawn Command.
Oh yeah.
Very, very odd. I'm still working through the rules on that.
While we're talking about stuff like that, I had a question. Was it one of you that had said that Chill was a really interesting game? I could have sworn it was somebody on the Gauntlet said Chill's a fantastic game, but I can't find out who.
I think that was probably Kate, because she's played Chill with the designer. I ran 2 sessions of it from the quick start, and it was not as much to my taste. I think it has some interesting ideas, but Kate really likes it, if I recall correctly, and I think Rach does as well.
Okay, because they've got the new Kickstarter out there now with Undead. So because we all need more undead in our lives.
Yeah.
Maria?
I was gonna mention something about Chill. I know if you need like the other side of the coin, Thomas Nova still had bad experiences with the rule book and the people who are involved, so you can ask him about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I had a really good session that I ran, but it was again another one of those. I think it was really good players, and the system wasn't as interesting as it could have been. But that's for another time. All right, so we're going to get through this. Okay, so I'm just going to reassure you right now, Stephen, you have, I believe, on your character sheet some history questions here. So let's take a look at those on your playbook.
Yep.
Okay.
You want me to just read them off?
Yeah. Why don't you go ahead and let's work through those.
Okay. So I asked the other families, which one of you is civilization's best chance to regrow?
Yeah, I think that's probably Sherry with her regrowing people, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that has to be.
So, that is Doe. You get 2 treaty on me.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So treaty essentially is like debt in the other games, and it can be used in that way. There are a couple of family moves that work off of that.
Okay.
Okay. So let's go through all of yours.
Yep. So which of you has seen the true power of our tech?
Ooh, interesting.
I think that might be the Hell Swords.
Yeah.
Yeah. We take 2 treaty on each other.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. And what was that true power that you demonstrated?
Well, I think what this was since we're still going with biotech, I think that the Thunder was invading an area where the Hell Swords were, and we made a truce, and as the Hell Swords fought them off, I think we had some creatures that dug underneath and made hollows in the ground so that the ground collapsed under the Thunder as they advanced.
Oh, neat. I like it. And your last one?
So wait, were those land sharks?
Ooh. I was thinking big gophers or something.
Rhino land sharks?
The last one is, which of you holds the brightest mind of the land? And let's make that the Fool's Mirror. And you get 1 treaty on me.
Okay.
So someone among the Fool's Mirror is a savant that you wish to bring in.
Well, we're ruled by seers, so.
Good point.
Okay, so you're called the
Burn.
Burn. Okay, BYRN. Okay.
All right, Maria. Let us look and
All right.
get the treaty that you have.
Which of you is a threat even to us? They take true treaty on you. And I'm gonna go through all of them because I want to have one of those on each. Which
Sure.
of you negotiated a peace treaty with us? They take true treaty on your family. And which of you fought side by side with us in a vicious battle? Take one treaty on each other. So we established that the Burn fought with us against the Thunder. So I'm guessing that one goes to Burn again.
Is that cool with you?
Yep.
Okay.
So you also get a treaty on me. The other two.
So could you read them again?
Which of you is a threat even to us, and which of you negotiated a peace treaty with us? Either way, it's to treaty on my family.
Let's see here. How about we say that Doe is a threat even to you?
I was thinking
Because- Yeah, because essentially you guys do genetically modify things a lot, and if you're pushing it and you know that they hold back their healing, you'll lose troops.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what does that do, though? It gives...
You write down that you have 2 treaty on the Hell Swords.
And I guess I have negotiated a peace treaty with the Fool's Mirrors.
Right. So what do I get then?
2 treaty.
2 treaty. Okay.
I like that. And then the Masquerade. Let's look at your questions.
Okay. So, which one of you uses our art in one of your most important rites?
I would say us, because essentially we have the important part of what we do is playing the history of the fall. We recast that considering, essentially depending on what message we want to send to the audience. So we pretty much need improvisational people.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Okay. So that tell us about the ceremony and give us 2 treaties. So you basically did. You reenact the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have 2 treaty on her.
Mm-hmm.
On that.
And then, excuse me, which one of you sees our lifestyle as decadent and unnecessary?
I think that was the Burn. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the Burn as well, rather than the Hell Swords, because we're at peace. So,
Yeah.
and
That's true.
And I think the Burn are more sciencey than artsy. So
Yeah,
it
they
makes
just don't
sense.
see the value in art.
So the Burn has 1 treaty on you.
Mhm.
Then. So
I already we give you 1 treaty, right? That's correct.
Yeah.
So the Burn gets 1 on us. And then the last one is, whose youth is enthralled by our lifestyle? Tell you what draws your kids to us like moths to the flame, and give us 2 treaty.
Oh wow. Yeah, I guess some of our children are like the idea of. So remind me again what the you do extreme body modifications, right? And
dance.
dance. So I guess using body modifications for art rather than war, that's interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, for dance. That's
Yeah.
okay. And so let's see. What was the final part?
Dad, I don't want to fight anymore. I want to be a dancer.
Yeah, pretty much.
They have
I like
the
it.
best. They have the best mods.
Awesome.
So you give us 2 treaty then. So I have 4 treaty on Hell Swords.
Dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun. And Doe, let's look at yours.
Mine is so mild.
Okay.
All I do is judge each family, either righteous or corrupt. It is nothing.
Are any of
So,
them righteous?
Let's see here.
We dance and show the truth.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
But we're
that-
very decadent.
No, that's the thing. Well, and it's that you guys mod yourselves, but you mod yourselves. You don't like recast yourselves. Does that make any sense? So you've got detachable arms, but that's, well, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that was one of the things I was playing with, but it could all just be mechs. It could all be costumes, basically. Costumes that we're putting on top of ourselves.
Is
See,
it?
I think-
Which is it?
Uh,
I think it depends on who you toss to us to test, right?
I mean, I could see it both ways. So maybe the more extreme of us do body mods, but maybe some of us don't.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, if it has to be one or the other, then I would go with the body mods.
Corrupt. I mean, go
Okay,
on.
so corrupt.
I think everyone is corrupt, and probably Burn would be the least corrupt, if anything.
Yeah, I probably would say each of you are corrupt, but you essentially, we take a treaty on them. If you say that you're corrupt, or I say that you're corrupt, and I probably actually do agree, it's probably the Fool's Mirror and the Hell Swords that we would consider inherently corrupt. And they can placate us, but first they have to say what happened to make our family condemn them. And then I would say Burn is usually judged righteous. And then they say what they did to win us over. And I take 1 treaty on them. Or I give them 1 treaty on me, excuse me. So I say to you, Crystal,
But you use our art.
your people are corrupt. You've been condemned.
But you use our art in one of your most important rights.
Yes.
They're trade-offs.
So that's why there are hypocrisies. So, could you see what happened that made us condemn you? So it could be something recent. Yeah, like what did you do that made us condemn you?
Oh, I think it's probably that we were swapping each other's body parts.
Mm.
Okay. Yes. That has to end. I'm just telling you now. Anyway, so I'm taking 1 treaty on you, okay?
Okay.
And then
We've had
Maria?
a very serious talk.
We've just turned into.
The
We just
reason we're like, sorry.
No, go on.
I'm sorry.
I think the reason we're corrupt, and this actually ties into which of you is a threat even to us. I think we murdered a few John and Janes.
All right. You're in trouble now. We're letting you get away with this, keeping the riots at bay, but
Is it just John and Jane's, or is it John, Jane's, and Kelly's and Lee's or whatnot?
John and Jane Doe.
Okay.
That's what we're called when you see it. It's our title. Like brother or sister, but Jane Doe, John Doe.
All
And
right.
that means you, of the Burns, I have declared you righteous. You get to say what you did to win us over, and you get 1 treaty on us.
I think the Burn. You said that whenever you take in the infirm or the dying or the sick, you kind of recreate them in your own image, and they then go back home for a little while and then join up later with the rest of the dough. I think that some of your tech that you used to do the conversion needed some help, and the burn helped you with that.
All right, that sounds awesome.
Okay.
Because essentially, when push comes to shove, we're all family people. We're all family.
We are all dough.
You're all dough.
Yeah, we're all dough.
All right, let's look at the playbooks. Let's get to the characters. Let's move through that. These are a little bit faster. Let me quickly go through what the stats refer to for moves. So most of the moves, so diffuse is when you de-escalate a situation, you can use force, sway, steal, or lore. So it depends on how you approach it. Fiercely assault is force. Using ancient devices is lore. Survival is steal. Finding common ground is sway. And then there are some peripheral moves that relate to those. But generally, each stat has one basic move and a peripheral move attached to it.
You gave the Sentinel the moves from the Elder, by the way.
Oh, let me go ahead and get the text correct on that. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
Okay, easy enough to fix there. Let me go and quickly grab that. No, I did that for a couple of these. Oh, geez. Hang on. Apparently, I goofed that up. Okay. What's the best way to do this, to fix this? Let me do that. So pick your stats while I fix my stupidities. Okay, and that is Envoy. Okay. Oh, that's easy enough to fix then. So that's C. Okay. Character moves.
Wait. Does this game have XP?
No.
Then why is there an XP box?
Probably because I didn't realize when I was making the characters, because everything has XP, and then I went and read, and I was like, wait a second, this doesn't have XP.
And harm also.
No, it has there's a harm track.
Yeah, but I think how it works is you pick which one is, like you mark it on the harm on like each box.
Yeah.
So you pick the one that is the most relevant. Because, for example, the Elder, you can actually lose people. And
right.
Yeah,
you just mark it. I just wanted you to have something that you knew how much harm total you've taken, so you have that tracked.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, makes sense.
Okay, sorry. So EF is what I'm doing here. Brand. Data validation. All right. Firebrand. Oh, that's not. So it's E, isn't it? Oh, God damn it.
And does everybody else get also like some stat gets raised from your family?
Everyone should have a stat that gets raised from your family.
And then from your character, a family stat is also raised. At least my character does that. My playbook.
Hang on a second. Let me. There we go. And let me get this data validation done on yours. So E.
One of your family stats.
Let me. And the scavenger is G. I'm going to fix the data validation and then I'm going to answer your question, okay? I've got the firebrands fixed. I have fixed the scavengers. Sentinel is I. I have fixed the sentinels. And survivor is K. You think I would have some kind of quality assurance tester or something for these, wouldn't you?
You do know I work in QA, right?
Yes, I do actually.
Oh, that's what I thought. I was like, okay. If you want me to bang on things before we get to a game, let me know. I'll do it.
No, we're all good. And Survivor, I've got your drop downs for your moves fixed as well. All right, now let me check here. Add one to one of your family stats. And yeah, it looks to me like I'm going to check the rules because that is a little ambiguous there. It looks like the family gives one stat to the playbooks of those two, and then vice versa that you get to pick to add one to one of your family's stats.
But you can't add one to mood, can you?
No, the three stats are the first three.
The first three, okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to quickly check and make sure that is the case. I think that is correct.
No, in the stats, you only add one of your family stats to one of your stats.
But not vice versa? It does the thing where it says add one to one of your family stats?
Yeah, my
Oh,
just...
that's during gear. That's
no, mine has it. Mine has it in the playbook under it the character stats. It says add ones to one of your family stats.
So does mine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let me see what that means.
That's why I was asking what grasp is, because I forgot. Reach, I think, is diplomacy. Sleight is sort of subterfuge and getting in undetected. What is grasp? Is that understanding?
Oh, I see.
Grasp, yeah.
What you mean? I thought you meant like I interpreted it as your family stats are X and X, or X and Y, and then you add one of the stats here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
ambiguously written, but it can be read either way. But I think that Maria's right. I think it doesn't go back. It's just you go back and you look at what it says in your family, and you pick one of those two stats to add +1 onto. Like, what were the two that were listed on your family? It was
Mine is force and sway, so I put 1 on force.
okay, and yours is lore or sway for the masquerade.
Okay, so you're thinking that it's just reflecting the same thing that was in the family one?
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it.
I think it's repeating that, which I'm not sure why he chose to do that. Because
Okay.
when I look at the character creation section, it only mentions taking one from the family book. But we'll ask him.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah,
may
I
be
think
watching
it's
this.
yeah, I think it's that because one, it's for clarity's sake. I think in the terms of you don't want to go back and forth between the characters and between the papers, and two, if you switch characters often enough, you would get ridiculous stats in your family.
Yeah, I think it's just ambiguously worded there on the actual character playbook.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, so okay, so you've had this conversation. So which is it? Because at some point I went,
Okay.
what?
So
What?
What it is on your family, playbook it lists two stats that you pick one of those to add a +1 to on your character.
Okay.
So, for example, with the servants, you got to pick from sway or steel. You add +1 to one of those stats for your character.
But only one of those two?
Only one of those two. So let me talk about advancement. So at the start of the game, you're going to start with one of those 4 roles marked: leader, agent, rebel, or outsider. What's going to happen during the course of the game is when you hit the condition to change your role, and each playbook has a different thing, like the Firebrand, mark when you infiltrate a group to bring it down. Say someone trusts you, GM says one who suspects. Essentially, when you make your character an agent for a time, then you mark that box, and you get advanced then. The advances are either a move or a +1 to a stat. The trick is, once you've marked all 4 boxes, your character retires.
Also, the stat that you advance has to be the one on the playbook. Like, for example, if you mark rebel, it's either you +1 force or another move. Same for outsider and lore, agent and steel, and leader and sway.
Wait, what?
So if I start out as a leader, for example, which might be what I'm actually doing, I don't get +1 sway, but I do have to do the mark, do the thing that it says.
You start with 1 marked.
Yes, and when my character, for example, when I protect one of my family's enemies from them, I mark outsider, which means I get to either take a new move or get a +1 on lore, because that is the stat associated with outsider.
Okay.
And
All
where
right.
do
So
you
I don't
see-
see those stats tied to anything, but that's
In the-
cool.
That's on the playbook.
Yeah, it's on the playbook.
It is. Okay. All right. Got it. It's just not on these. Okay. Coolio. All right.
It actually doesn't say that it has to be to that stat in the rules.
I think it's in the rule book itself.
I'm looking at the rule book.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What?
When you mark an unmarked roll, get a new move or add one to a stat. Oh, Jesus Christ. You are absolutely right.
Yeah, because otherwise, why would Rebel be under Force, lower
Yeah.
under Outsider? Yeah.
So
No.
are you saying we choose one now and we get marked and we raise a stat?
No, you
No,
don't
we
raise
don't.
a stat to start.
Okay, but we choose one now and that's our starting roll.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
However, you do get the condition at the beginning of play. So you don't raise a stat or get a new move, but if I'm start out as a leader, I mark when you seek sanctuary for your family, say where they'll be safe, and GM says what's in your way. So, for example, that's an example. That's what my character has as leader. So so basically, I have to say where they'll be safe at character creation if I pick leader.
Yeah. So that's a fictional fictional positioning there for the start of the game.
And is there a limitation? Can we all be leaders?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no limitation other than that.
By the way, I will start as leader. And the reasoning for this is, well, there's a huge fucking army coming, and there's also the thunder. So I kind of want to make sure my family's safe.
That makes sense. Does anybody have any questions about their moves?
I noticed that one of my moves is when we make camp. Is this something we do kind of like downtime in Blades of the Dark or something? Is this a sort of part of the session, or is this just should we happen to do that?
That's an in the fiction thing. It's not like there's not a move for it. It's just a fictional thing.
But it's not like a thing that we go, oh, usually in a session we will make camp.
That's correct.
Okay.
So it's not like Dungeon World's make camp move.
Yeah.
Yeah, or downtime phase in Blades in the Dark.
Too many PbtA games.
That's it. There's a lot of them, and you see words that you go, well, this seems like maybe. Okay.
So we have to introduce our characters?
Yes. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to briefly, I want everybody to give us your 1 minute pitch for your character. You're going to do that again at the beginning of next session, and we'll do the relationship map at that point. And we'll get rolling because I am a stickler for time. So we are almost at 10:30. So we got a lot of very cool stuff generated, and we worked through, and I screwed up a bunch of the rules, and Maria got them right repeatedly. So I'd just like to point that out. So anyone watching this, whenever you hear me say something and Maria goes, no, Maria's right, and I'm wrong when you're watching, okay, I'm going to try and reread the rules next time. So there's a little less of that. Sherry, can you tell us about your character here, just to kind of this is going to be the capstone for the evening. We're going to come back and start on this next time with the relationships and playing out. Tell us about, is her name Jane Doe?
Of course, her name is Jane Doe. Of course, she had another name before then, and that was Avarice Coin. She was one of the exchange. She's a survivor. She of course, one of the things with the doe is, the servants, is that they travel together in small groups out to these different faraway places that may need their help. And when they were traveling to out to a settlement that was far down by the river, they were some of the first to run into the Deathless Legion, and the group was decimated. Jane was the only survivor, and she had to run away. She had no recourse, and she essentially has a good deal of resentment, and she's set on doing something to stop these people. So anyway, her moves are "this won't kill me," and she can get pretty darn well. If she's threatened, she goes berserkies, and and I haven't decided from the things I've seen which one fits the best. I guess it would be barbaric excess of mankind, but I wasn't not so interested in that. But another berserkies should it be required. And I guess right now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, I don't know what this means, but I'm going to mark outsider because for a servant, she's scarred. She's like, looks like a good candidate for someone who probably should have been healed by her own kind. But she chose not to, and to bear those scars until she's settled out what she thinks needs to be done.
Okay, I'm gonna put that text in red just to mark that. Okay. Christo, please tell us about Malcolm.
Okay, Malcolm is a firebrand. He's got fiery eye, or I touched the name Malcolm. But I'm going to say because he's a masquerade that they're all they can be ambiguous, or maybe ambiguous is not the best word. They can be masculine, feminine, or something in between because they can mod their body. And I'm beginning to starting to think of them like Lego. And it's sort of like they snap parts off and they snap them back on, and that's part of, so you can think of that as their costumes, and so they're very fluid. It's probably the best word for them, actually.
Okay, I like that.
So graceful body, definitely, because dancer. Friendly face, and that ties in with his social moves because when he has social stealth, so he blends in with a crowd. When there's a dozen or more, I won't be recognized, and I will look unremarkable.
I imagine that you're putting stuff and changing things out to blend in.
Sure, it's like he might twist his leg around, and that gives him another 6 inches, or take 6 inches away. Or they, I guess. Again, so Anarchist Cookbook is the other one I took. Not quite sure why, but I thought it might play into this, might be fun because I'm thinking of them as sort of a spy.
Okay.
Subterfuge, getting in, and I also took Agent as his role at this time. So his goal, he needs to infiltrate a group, so that'll play into the moves.
Okay, and we'll talk at the beginning about which group you've infiltrated. So.
Right, exactly.
All right. Let's hear about the Painless.
The Painless is a mysterious figure that is the leader of the Hellswords, and their moves are Armored Invigilance, which lets them get more armor by fixing their armory at camp, and Command, which lets them basically tell people what to do.
Okay. And you mentioned that you were definitely the leader.
Yes, I am definitely the leader, and I did mark that.
Young, old?
Concealed. We don't know.
Okay. Do we know gender? Or is that also a question?
It's a question.
Okay, cool. I like that. And finally, Malachi Burn.
Yes. Malachi appears older. but he moves kind of spry, like he might be younger than he appears. He's kind of has squinty eyes. Has most of the time, he looks pretty normal and has kind of normal kind of clothing on, but whenever he has little critters, almost like bug things that crawl around. They'll come out. It's sort of like his, and they'll do little tasks and things like that. But most of the time they're still until they start to move, and then you see his robes start to roil a little bit, and they kind of come out. The moves I took were Scrap Heap Ingenuity. When I spend a few hours wiring up and harmonizing all the odd junk I carry around, I can accomplish great things. And it's something like a shield or communication from afar, or destruction of something that is attached to, and then it has a downside that the GM chooses. The other is Just Enough. My pack, and my pockets and loops are just bulging with lots of scrap and oddments and barter and stuff like that. Whenever I rifle through my pockets, I can count on finding enough food to fend off starvation, or enough shiny things for a bunk for the night, or some smokes or something like that.
Awesome. What are you imagining is your role within the family here at the start?
Very good. I am an outsider because I like the way it sounded. I mark this when my horde starts whispering to me. The GM says what it wants me to do.
Oh, okay. I'm going to think about that. I'll mark that in red. All right. So we have characters on the table. Next time we're going to start out and we're going to do those backstory questions because you do know each other. There is a web of interactions that we're going to build. And we'll take some of those threats and we're going to throw those on the table next time when we get to play and go through that. I want to apologize for my letting the time kind of get away from us, but there are a lot of pieces here. I'm still getting used to it. It's a little bit different than it was before, but it's got some interesting stuff, and I'm really looking forward to play. And we'll get some play in next time. So I apologize, and I apologize for going no a couple of times there and being terribly wrong. So that's my fault on that. And we'll do Roses and Thorns at the end of next session where we can talk about the process and we can talk about the play then once we have both of those in shape. Anything before I stop the broadcast?
I do have a quick question.
Yeah, please.
Under the family investments, there's armory, companions, outfit, vehicles, and such. And I found tags for weapons, but I haven't found any tags for outfits. And I'm not sure where to find an example of that.
Let me see.
I have a couple on my sheet.
So I see some in there like camo, regal, and utility.
Yes. Oh, actually, in the sample, in the little player's reference thing, there's a sheet that has gear on it, and it actually has the gear. It has armory, vehicles. It has example tags for all of those. It's in the folder.
Okay, I'll take a look at that.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
I think we all understand our homework assignments.
God, oh my God.
I'll read the book.
Oh, thank you, Sherry.
I guess I'll read the book even though I know what
Well, it depends which version. So have you used 1.51 again? Because I thought the last time I looked at it, I didn't think it had so many. I mean, it has all the art in it now. It's beautiful.
I used the one before 1.5. So I have some idea what's going and also I think some of the things that change are like specific things. And to be fair, the last time I played this game, I used the Stranded Starfarer, so it would be different anyways.
Yeah. He says he adjusted the history and backstories. He removed the +1 forward ongoing and changed everything to advantage. He changed vehicles to a tag-based systems. He tweaked the companions, armory, edited some move options, and a few other things, and added some advice on the character playbooks and stuff.
Do we want to start like a Google Doc in this folder that might have sort of our questions or things we've stumbled on, or do you do that already, Lo?
No, that's actually a really good point. Let's actually just do it as a tab on this sheet. And I'm just going to write, I'm going to rename it as questions. So if we find something, we can, if I can spell it right, I just spelled it Queertons. It is late. There we go. I spelled questions correctly on the 4th try. So we can just put those there on that tab if we have those, and you should have access to that. So all right, I'm going to stop the broadcast. I am going to go ahead and post this after I put the teaser front on it. I will post this up so it's available tomorrow, because I suspect James will want to look at it. So we'll do that, and he'll shake his head. Oh, which I would at this point, listening to me. So, all right, I'm going to start the broadcast.